Welcome to another flip through. This is Todd from Todd Young Online. Uh, Now, this little beauty I picked up in a bookshop in Dubai, I think, on my way to Afghanistan. I worked over there for a few years, 3 years and some change. I used this one to gather some ideas, but and a lot of the kind of redacted stuff was notes I took for work. Um, I carried this with me to all my meetings, made notes, did doodles. It kept me occupied. A lot of notes, a lot of story ideas too that I had come up with, and journaling. Uh, Journaling's a big part of my sketchbooks usually. Um, Project ideas. I sat in an airport and the snarky part of me was looking around and coming up with book titles for people. So I ended up Judgment Day is an incarnation of that. Went through and fleshed out that idea. Thumbnailed some of those in here. I'd sit in meetings and also like doodle people, doodle ideas, um, try and come up with you know, ways to get me through some of those meetings sometimes. It was a great opportunity. I don't get me wrong that despite being that far away from home and in a war zone, um, it was a career wise a great opportunity. I got to do a lot of things. I got to work my way up kind of from the bottom. It was a lot of stress, but I got to prove to myself that my ideas were valid and valuable. I'm one of those people that I can be critical of leadership around me and play the, if I were in charge game, I'd do this differently, I'd do that differently. And when the opportunity came, I got to step up into a leadership role and prove that, what I thought would make things better did indeed make things better. Learn the value of building and keeping a good team and how to do your best to help people do their best at their jobs and keep them happy. um you know Looking through these sketchbooks and doing this archive and going back through them, um and being at a point now that I've really kind of dug back into trying to create and make more. um I find myself a much more intentional artist. When I sit down and realize I want to, I have a focus on what I want to work on next and what I want to accomplish, and with that in my hand. Whereas before, it was I didn't understand necessarily what I was doing. I was just doing, and it may not have been the most productive way forward for me. Not that it wasn't at least a place to start, and realizing that starting and doing something is better than not doing anything at all. It's like you can lay there and have the best ideas in the world, but if you don't act on them, um, then they're they're kind of pointless almost. Um, I've got other project ideas that I haven't fleshed out yet. I started working on sequels to some of my ideas while I was over there, but lost the files. So it's kind of a um, whole start over for me again. Um, but here are notes for a bunch of projects that I was able to produce while I was over there. I was lucky that we worked a lot. We worked like 12-hour days, but in the time that we did have that was downtime, I was able to, I had a very limited amount of space for myself and was able to, decompress, and I had my laptop and my software and everything that I needed, and very few distractions usually. So I was able to finish a bunch of projects and get a bunch of stuff done. I'd sit and I'd doodle the people that were in the meetings with me, just for some practice and for something to do. Uh, Try and flesh things out a lot more, a lot better, just to also be kind of comedic, I guess, to myself, keep myself amused. So, and sometimes that's all it takes. It's like if the I try and pay attention, but if it doesn't really involve me that much, then trying to look like I'm involved. um, yeah, I looking at I had planned out a bunch of things, making lists, making sure I didn't forget things. I tend to do that. It's like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, and then if I don't write it down and to make sure that it's somewhere that I can see it, um, then I forget about it, or some days it's one of those things where I've got an idea, but in order for me to get that idea to paper, I have to find something to write down, and if I lose focus on that idea for a second, it is gone. I've done that so many times, and can just kick myself because I know I've got $1 billion ideas in there somewhere. Anyway, um, yeah, more journaling, more just rough doodles. Something that I've kind of redone more recently, just simple shapes, trying to redo, do faces, working on projects for other people, working on little logos and ideas. Sorry, I get lost watching this myself. Just remembering kind of, you know, sitting where I was and what I was doing and what I was doodling and what I was trying to do. Um, while I was there, I worked on some animation pieces, which are up on the website. I worked on some character design stuff intentionally. Um, I did some stop motion. I did a lot of like initial projects. I call them initial projects because, I got them done. I got a finished project, and now there's something to build on, that I've got that finished thing, and can move on. This wasn't a very long sketchbook, or a very big sketchbook. It was kind of a nice little faux, not even leather, but kind of vinyl cover, and thin paper. It wasn't like good Moleskine, but it was a decent little sketchbook. While I was over there, taking notes for, the workouts I did a lot of, kept track of my finances in here. It's probably some of what's blacked out. I did that just to, anyway, I think I'm almost at the end of this. But I filled this whole thing up. I was very pleased. Whenever I finish a sketchbook, there is no greater feeling than of accomplishment than, having a full completed document. And I still go back to this one every once in a while to look at some of the projects. This was another idea of trying to create a simple shape and then mirror that, almost like a playing card, or like the tarot cards or something. Animation idea that I had, I actually did that one. It's kind of simple, but I got it. I had never done, and I'm studying animation a little bit more, especially traditional animation, and drawing frame by frame, while I also learn how to do the proper cell animation, traditional animation ways. I've got the Richard Williams. Yeah, Richard Williams, the Animator Survival Kit. I bought the book and I've been going through that, but also on the iPad, and it may be on Android. I haven't checked, but there's an app which has been really cool. It's not only is it the text that you can, that's broken down, but also animated bits, video bits, that help you digest the material a lot more easily. Um, oh, when I was working on my logo, trying to figure out how I wanted to do it, my inspiration logo for Todd Young Online, other little ideas, trying to make myself a learning plan. But Afghanistan was a productive time for me artistically. You've seen some of the other flip throughs and projects I've done. I was able to sit down and really focus. My time over there was spent, work, eat, sleep, work was pretty much it. And in my downtime, figure out ways to create so I didn't go too crazy. Anyway, there's another one. Thank you very much for taking the time, and thank you for your comments and support. You guys have really been great, and I appreciate you watching these and interacting with them. I'm Todd Young Online. Until next time, thank you very much.